everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look on what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we're giving you the early inside scoop on Capricorn season, the entire overview on what's going to happen during Capricorn season, so you can know what you're getting into up front. And just wanted to throw this out there. If you listened to last week's episode, you would know that we are talking about Capricorn season a little bit early this year because we wanted to get some 2023 predictions and astrology overviews out prior to the holidays. So we will be covering Capricorn season a little early now, but if you missed it last week, we did talk about Mercury and Venus that entered Capricorn. They are both key players in Capricorn season, obviously, because it's in Capricorn, and there was also a full moon in Gemini. So if you missed that, then definitely listen to last week's episode before jumping into this one.
And just to give you a heads up, next week is our annual New Year's special where we will be reflecting on the astrology of 2022 and looking ahead at the astrology of 2023.
Yeah, it's definitely one you're not going to want to miss. So definitely listen next week if you want to know what 2023 has in store for you. But in the immediate, what does the astrology have in store for you? Capricorn season. We're going to explain the sun in Capricorn, the new moon in Capricorn, and Mercury retrograde in depth now, because those are the things that happen prior to the new year. And then the other things that happen in Capricorn season, Venus in Aquarius, full moon in Cancer, the end of both Mars and Mercury retrograde will have their own episodes, but we will explain them now so you can get a little taste of what your first weeks of 2023 will look like. And after a short ad break, we'll get right into the episode. All right, let's begin Capricorn season. This begins on December 21st at 4:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. So what do you need to know? Capricorn season always makes perfect sense around the New Year's time because Capricorn season is a period of time where we get really focused on our goals, our ambitions, plans for the future, etc. In general, though, Capricorn energy can be very responsible and also very mature. So if you find that this time of year you are reflecting on your responsibilities, you're taking yourself and your goals a little bit more seriously, that is always to be expected.
Yeah, you can expect a lot of the busyness that comes with Sagittarius season to come to an end, and we will be taking on a more serious tone, I guess, during Capricorn season. The day that the sun enters Capricorn, which again, in case you forgot, is December 21st, that is the shortest day of the year, also known as the winter solstice.
Yeah, also another thing to know is that Capricorn energy can be very nostalgic in nature. So if you find that you are home for the holidays and maybe reminiscing on fond memories of your life, that's also very normal during Capricorn season. There are some key dates you'll want to pay attention to. So the same day that the sun enters Capricorn, December 21st, the sun is square Jupiter. If you listened to last week's episode, you would know that Jupiter entered Aries the day before Capricorn season. With the sun square Jupiter, there tends to be just a little bit of carelessness during this time. So just something to be mindful of, but it is a very fleeting energy, won't last very long.
And then on January 5th, the sun will be trine Uranus. This is a day to be proud of who you are, explore, and take risks.
Now, on January 7th, the sun is conjunct Mercury. However, Mercury will be retrograde, so this is a good time for reflecting.
On January 13th, the sun will be sextile Neptune. This will be a great time to explore your creativity, express yourself through art, maybe listen to music, make playlists, things like that. You also might find that you're more interested in what's going on with celebrities and movies and things like that as well.
And on January 18th, the sun will be conjunct Pluto. Now, I like to think of this as the Moldavite moment of the year. Pluto is very transformative in nature, and the sun deals with our identity. Pluto also does deal with healing. So if you have some realizations about, the new year, new me, who do I need to become? How can I grow and transform and heal? And what do I need to let go of? You might have that moment on January 18th. So the next thing that happens during Capricorn season is the new moon in Capricorn. This happens on December 23rd at 5:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at 1 degrees Capricorn. So new moons are new beginnings, and Capricorn is a cardinal energy, which is all about starting new projects, and it's very goal driven. So I like to think of the new moon in Capricorn as that ideal time to be setting your New Year's goals. If that's something that you're interested in, you can set goals whenever. It doesn't need to be the New Year's. But if that's something you're looking into, the new moon in Capricorn is a great time to do that. You are thinking about your goals, your future, and ways that you can be maybe taking yourself and your ambitions a little bit more seriously.
Because this is the last new moon of the year, if you're not ready to start planning and thinking about 2023, this could be a good time to set goals for one last thing that you want to do to wrap up 2022.
Speaking of wrapped up, quick little segue here to say thank you to everybody who had our podcast in your Spotify Wrapped. It was really, really, really amazing. Just so you all know, we can see some of the stats, and I just want to say huge thank you to everybody who also not only listens and had the podcast in their Spotify Wrapped, but who shares the podcast with their friends. We're in the top 5% of most shared podcasts and also most followed podcasts, which was honestly really amazing and surprising and shocking. And I'm so excited and happy for that. So we love you. Thank you. If you're following this podcast and you're sharing it with a friend, we love you. Thank you so much. One other thing to know is this new moon is at 1 degrees Capricorn, which we did mention. 1 degrees is an Aries degree, which is the first sign of the zodiac. So this very much feels very, 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 very new moon. It's as new as a new moon can feel, but there are some challenging aspects. What are they? Let's discuss. The sun and moon are square Jupiter, and there's also a square to Neptune. It's not as strong as a square to Jupiter. So what this means, as we mentioned previously with the sun square Jupiter on the 21st, there can be themes of carelessness during this time. So just be mindful of any of that lingering carelessness energy that might be occurring on the 23rd.
Because Capricorn is such a practical and grounded sign, it could be possible that Neptune's dreamy and idealistic nature can help balance that out. However, again, this is a square, so it also could make things confusing, especially when Jupiter's there and the new moon energy. It's kind of like you want to do a lot, you might have big dreams, but maybe you're not sure how you're going to get there, or it might be overwhelming in the moment. If that's true, it's okay because we still have time to figure it out. Also, things will get a lot easier once the Mars retrograde ends. We'll talk about this again later in the episode, but a lot of the things that we're going to be working towards will get a lot easier once Mars is direct.
This is definitely going to be a reflective New Year's because on December 29th at 4:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we do have a Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. If you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you probably already knew about this. We did mention it already. It's here. It happens during Capricorn season. Now, how will this Mercury retrograde affect you? Now, as we mentioned, Capricorn energy is already fairly nostalgic in nature. So when we put Mercury retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, we just get very nostalgic. This is a time to be reflecting a lot on the past. Since Capricorn energy deals with traditions, you might be reflecting on old traditions, old lessons that you've learned. Capricorn's ruled by Saturn, which is all about lessons in life. You might be reflecting on what you learned in 2022, and it's kind of like your year in review reflective moment.
This could also be kind of a reality check in the sense that we are reflecting from a very practical perspective, and we might be realizing some things. That's typical during a Mercury retrograde in general. You also might be reflecting on the expectations that you set for yourself. And some of us might be too hard on ourselves. So this could be a good time to kind of reflect and also appreciate how far we have come, especially throughout this year.
So just some of the key dates during the actual retrograde itself that you need to be aware of. The first one is December 12th, which is the day this episode comes out. That's when the Mercury retrograde pre-shadow begins. It happens at 8 degrees Capricorn.
And then on December 29th, Mercury will be conjunct Venus. This is a great time to be social and spend time with the people that you love. If you have traveled elsewhere for the holidays, maybe you went back to your hometown, or maybe you're somewhere new and you're making new friends. Regardless, this is a great time to be connecting with others, supporting others, and showing them how much you appreciate them for who they are.
And if you're wondering, when does this Mercury retrograde end? Don't worry, it does happen still in Capricorn season. So we'll tell you all about that in a moment. But after a short ad break, we'll get into the second half of Capricorn season, the January 2023 part of Capricorn season, your first weeks in the new year after the short ad break. If you're someone like me who can sit and listen to podcasts for hours on end but struggle to keep your focus when actually reading written text, then I have a solution for you. It's a disability-friendly app called Speechify, and it's the only thing getting me, someone with ADHD, through grad school. Speechify is the best text-to-speech app that there is. You can upload any written document, whether it be a news article, long text from your friends, or my arch nemesis, Harvard Business Review case studies, and turn the text into an audio file that you can listen to right from your phone or your computer at your leisure. There's tons of natural human sounding voices to choose from. You can choose what speed you'd like to listen, choose to skip over citations, etc., giving your text that audiobook-like feel. If you're interested in signing up, then I have a discount code for you. Use the code STARS, STARS, for 15% off your order. Link is in the description. What is the first thing that happens in 2023? Venus enters Aquarius on January 2nd at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, quick little memo. This will be the first in-depth episode of the new year, so we will talk more about this in the new year on January 2nd. For now, what you can expect is that your relationships might be shifting more towards focusing on your friendships rather than some of the other types of relationships you have. So if you've been more focused on your professional relationships or the ones you have with your family, you might find that you're more focused on your friendships, getting the squad together in the new year. But some other things that can manifest with this is being very creative, really great time for reinventing your wardrobe if that's one of your New Year's goals. Venus in Aquarius can definitely help with that.
Something to know now that we will, again, go more in depth into is that there's going to be a lot of challenging aspects to Venus. Just know that this is not your typical Venus in Aquarius transit because there's going to be a lot going on with the outer planets and the nodes. So stay tuned for that.
Now, the next thing that happens in the new year is the full moon in Cancer on January 6th. This happens at 6:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time at 16 degrees Cancer. Now, I always love the full moon in Cancer because the moon is at home in Cancer, so it really feels like a true full moon in my opinion. But overall, you can expect on January 6th to feel a lot of feelings, but also at the same time work on balancing your logical side and your emotional side.
I'm really looking forward to the first full moon of the year. I feel like Cancer as an energy is very expressive, and there might be a lot of things that we need to release and figure out in order to start the new year fresh. Also, all of the aspects for this full moon are very positive.
Now, if you need something else to look forward to, Mars retrograde does end in Capricorn season. Mars stations direct in Gemini on January 12th at 3:56 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And yes, this means we'll have regular Mars in Gemini, bringing our curiosity and energy back. Overall, you can expect your motivation to kind of return. I like to think that New Year's begins, like the New Year's goals really begins once this Mars retrograde ends.
Yeah, I think that last part's really important because we've been dealing with this Mars retrograde for a while. And again, when Mars is retrograde, it can be very frustrating or difficult to get things done. So now that we had the time to reflect, especially with the Mercury retrograde, and we set our goals and it's a new year, we just finished releasing with the full moon. We're ready to get started on our New Year's goals and resolutions. I know that we mentioned that we can start things and set goals at any time of the year, but there's just something special about the new year. And then again, Mars being direct will definitely help us out.
And what will help even further is Mercury retrograde ends in Capricorn season. Mercury stations direct in the sign of Capricorn on January 18th at 8:12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So yes, when Mars retrograde ends, the New Year's goals can begin. But when Mercury retrograde ends, that is like, to me, the true beginning of our New Year's moment. Overall, of course, when Mercury retrograde ends, we'll get back into that normal Mercury and Capricorn energy, which we will talk about later, but we did also talk about it last week. If you want to listen to last week's episode, the miscommunication that comes with Mercury retrograde will end, and we'll be back in that logical, practical, planning, and ambitious and funny energy.
Although Mercury stations direct on January 18th, we might still have some things being wrapped up and resolved until post shadow ends on February 7th at 24 degrees Capricorn. Just another thing to keep in mind as we are ready to get going. There still might be some things that need to be resolved before we are fully ready to enjoy Mercury direct.
And that is Capricorn season in a nutshell. Next week, we will be telling you everything you need to know about some of the main moments of 2023. The big outer planet transits, the retrogrades, the eclipses, the full and new moons. We've got the whole inside scoop for you on 2023 coming next week. Our annual New Year's special. If you want to stay in the loop with us and what is to come, then make sure you're following us on social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday.